Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. This morning, there's lots to talk about, plenty of stocks in focus. So let's go straight to our research team to discuss that. First up, Anuj joins in to give us a couple of stocks that he's watching. Anuj, what's on your list today?
Sonia, basically the themes today that I'm watching out for today, there are a couple of themes. One is this gold prices surging once again, and the gold finances stocks, they have seen some kind of correction. So perhaps if a fresh upswing starts, so keep an eye on a stock like say Muthoot Finance. And I think yesterday we had Gujarat Gas, which came out with good numbers. So perhaps the city gas distribution space, that could be interesting. So a stock like Mahanagar Gas, perhaps. My sense is that today you will see a lot of traction in the broader market. That's been strong anyway, but I think with the kind of cues that we have, broader market should do well today.
Okay. Well, we'll watch out for that. In fact, yesterday also the breadth of the market was pretty good. Mangalam, Tata Consumer, I mean, many consumer stocks like Britannia have done well, but this one stands out.
This one does stand out. Tea and coffee have been the fuel for this lockdown, and that's what the expectation was. The companies beat expectations as well. Revenues at 2,700 crores, EBITDA 100 crore above our expectations, and as a result of which the net profit was almost twice what the street was expecting. Of course, they got a benefit from a 63 crore additional gain as well. But across the board, if you look at India tea business or the foods business, which they merged from Tata Chemicals, as well as the international business, there was big growth across the board, 8%, 19% and 15%. However, just keep an eye out on the management commentary. That was rather interesting because they said while things were buoyant during the lockdown, going ahead, they see some tapering off of demand and commodity prices have increased as well. The stock at a record high. Let's see where it goes.
Well, yeah, record high valuation as well, and has been doing quite well. So let us see how much of this is in the price. We will know today. But yesterday there was a buzz of Axis Bank QIP, and now it's official. Abhishek, over to you.
Well, Anuj, Axis Bank has launched fundraising up to 10,000 crores. So the fundraising is via QIP and preferential issue. The base deal size is of about 8,000 crores, which they intend to scale up to 10,000 crores. So if you take into account 10,000 crores and the indicative price of 420 per share, the tier 1 ratio that increases by 145 basis points to 14.8%. The net worth increases by 11.5% to 96,100 crores. Equity dilution of 8.4% leads to 3% rise in their book value. The demand is strong at 3x, with 80% demand coming in from global long-term funds. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, Info Edge is on our radar this morning on the back of the QIP. Reema's here to give us more details. Reema.
Hi Sonia, thanks so much for that. Well, it's an 1875 crore QIP which has been launched by Info Edge, which is about $250 million. The floor price is only at a 1% discount to where the stock closed yesterday at 3,177. But the fundraising committee has the discretion to offer a higher discount as well, going up to 5% according to the SEBI rules. If you look at the kind of dilution this will entail, it will be roughly about 5% pre-issue as well as post-issue. So $250 million fundraise on the anvil for Info Edge.
Okay, I mean, string of companies taking advantage of the buoyancy in the market. Okay, Mangalam, to you on Astral Poly.
Well, as far as Astral Poly is concerned, the results were weak, understandably, because of the nature of their products. Revenues were down 34%. We saw a sharp correction in the company's EBITDA as well, and as a result of which the net profit fell by 58%. There was a decline across both their segments, plastic pipes and adhesives, but the management commentary is rather positive, and my sense is that would keep the stock afloat today, because they say they've recovered almost 91% of their sales, and in this time, they've repaid the debt. The company's turned net debt-free, so maybe the street will give it a longer pipe.
Okay, and let's go close to Sonal then for Narayana Hrudayalaya. Sonal.
Well, Anuj, the numbers are weak as expected, but slightly better than IDFC estimates. So the revenues declined by 49% to come in at 394 crores versus IDFC estimates of around 319 crores. Company reported an EBITDA loss of 83 crores, a loss at around 120 crore rupees versus an expectation of 140 crore worth of loss. However, the management commentary is positive, where they say that there has been a steady pickup in business, and now in June they have been able to break even at consolidated EBITDA level, and that is something that they expect to continue. So the management commentary is positive. On the back of that, expect the stock to do well.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, some really strong numbers coming in from the likes of PI Industries. Nigel joins in to give us more on that and other numbers. Nigel.
Well, the stock has been a big performer. That's PI Industries, and the numbers look splendid. On the top line itself, there was a growth of closer around 40% odd. They did one better in terms of the operating profit because that jumped up by more than 50%, telling you there was margin expansion out there as well. So that's a positive number. You had Jindal Saw. Well, you had a lockdown for close to around 30% of the last quarter, and they were totally locked down for that period. So on the back of that, the numbers looked a little bit weak. You had the revenue that declined by close to around 45%. The EBITDA number did come down by more than 50%, telling you there was margin compression. In addition to that, the net debt remains elevated at around 4,400 crore rupees. So that goes down, as Week said. And Thomas Cook, no surprises out here. In fact, out there as well, you did have a net loss coming in from Thomas Cook. So that looked like a weak seg. And finally, PTC India Finance, out there, you had the provisions that declined. And because of a sharp dip in terms of provisioning, you had the net profit number that did get a jump up. So keep an eye out on all these stocks. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much for all that. We have more results from Sonal.
Absolutely, I have more good than bad. Let me start with Spark. That is the R&D arm of Sun Pharma. Lumpy business, that's why the numbers are also lumpy. But this time around, the company has reported profits after 8 quarters of loss. The highest profit in last 21 quarters coming in at 57 crore rupees. Moving on, Gujarat Gas, another very strong set in terms of what the market expectations were. Gross margins, in fact, have expanded by 32% on a sequential basis. Company says the volumes have come back to pre-COVID levels at 9.5 MMSCMD, and industrial segment is showing some growth, so expect that stock to do well. MRP, however, reported an EBITDA loss on the bottom line at 520 crore rupees and reported a negative GRM of $1.5 per barrel. On the other hand, we had strong numbers coming in from Unichem Labs. That was a turnaround, profits at 2.5 crores versus loss at 6 crores. So that stock should do well in trade today.
Okay, well, now let's move on. X of results, there are some other stocks in news, and Rima is tracking those for us. Rima?
Hi Anuj, let me start with SAIL, where the July volumes look good. There is an improvement of 24% on a month-on-month basis, 50% on a year-on-year basis. So strong volume growth. And if you look at the internals, the percentage of exports has gone down, which means it's positive for the profitability of SAIL. SRF has commissioned a BOPET plant in Hungary. The total capitalization and the amount that they've spent is close to 80 million euros on this. Tishman Carbogen India Rating has revised the outlook to positive, though they continue to maintain their rating on the stock. SH Kelkar had announced the acquisition of a company, Italian company, but they'd acquired only 51%. So the news today is that they've acquired the balance 49% stake in this Italian company for a total consideration of 126 rupees. And finally, Coal India, that's the only one which is in the red for me, where 5 trade unions have served a notice for strike on the 18th of August. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Rima. But the big headline globally is gold continuing its record-breaking run, now above $2,000 an ounce. Manisha Gupta, commodities editor, is here with us. Manisha, what led to the move to this, psychological mark?
$2,015 an ounce. Well, we have seen a huge run-up come in for gold. It soared past 2,000 in a jiffy, and we've seen newer highs being created here. The latest trigger clearly has been the ultra-low interest rate environment and hopes of a more U.S. stimulus. Remember, for the last 3 days now, we've been reacting to how much and whether or not and when from the U.S. markets in sense of next stimulus measures, and that has been supportive. The dollar index did try to gain up, but we've seen it fall yet again to those 2-year lows. The caution now is that 2,000 for the longest time has been an important mark. Once this is done, there are risks of a temporary pullback as well rising into the market, and the nearest support is way lower because we've seen the prices run up too much too soon. So 2,000 is done. The hope is that you will see some consolidation come in around these levels before we start yet another leg up. But not just gold. Take a look at silver, 7% of gains overnight and 7-year highs onto that one as well.
Okay, but I saw even metal prices rising, and that might be positive for Indian equities more than gold. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Before we sign off and take our second break, here's an important piece of news which all of us would anyway be interested in. Chinese mobile phone maker Vivo has pulled out as IPL's title sponsor for the 2020 season. However, sources say the company will resume the role for 3 years starting 2021 as its contract has not been terminated. CNN News 18's Gaurav Kalra joins us with all that he has picked up. Gaurav, what does this mean for the tournament, the sponsorship commitments of other Chinese companies, etc.?
First, the rider, of course, that there has been no official confirmation either from the BCCI or from Vivo themselves. In fact, the BCCI's website still very much calls it the Vivo IPL. However, we are learning that things are moving in that direction. And I think what's being worked out are, the contours of this arrangement. Right now, obviously, the optics are very important. For the last couple of days since the Governing Council announced the schedule or the fact that the IPL will be played in the UAE, the sponsorship being held by a Chinese company has created a social media storm, and that obviously is never very good for a brand that wishes to use this platform to create a sort of positive vibe about itself and create interest among the consumer base. So clearly, a decision of this kind, I think, is being made keeping in mind the emotion of the moment, so to speak.